Pictures, selecting pictures for the design. So what I want to say is that when you're selecting out images for the design itself, and for the post producers, at least for our people here, most of the time this is going to be done by the design consultant, the person that's actually running the design meeting, because it's going to be done in conjunction with what the clients are selecting for their images. But I do want our post-production team to understand how these are put together. And the reason why is because you might be rejecting things that shouldn't be rejected. Okay, so this goes back to the culling process, and I know if we do another culling video, that big burly man in the back is going to cut my head off. Carlo, his name is Carlo. So selecting for the design, we want to design one, basically per spread, per wall art piece, per whatever we are doing, we want to create a singular story within that piece of wall art, which means the goal isn't to throw in, like if you do a family shoot, your goal with a wall art design should not be to incorporate one part of every single piece of that shoot in one design. The goal is you focus on a singular subject. In fact, if you were to imagine, well, if I have two kids and one of them happens to be Ethan and one of them has to be Ellie, yes, I'm talking about my own children, then imagine me as a parent. In Ethan's room, I might want a spread with just Ethan, 4 shots of him, and in Ellie's room, I might want a spread of just Ellie. So those are the story elements per. In the family room, I might want a shot of the family as a sequence, but from the same scene, not spread out from all over the place. And then in our bedroom, I might want a shot of me and my wife as a piece as well. So when you're designing these pieces, if you go with this shotgun approach of like shooting everything. You guys know how to shotgun works? Yes, yes. You guys need like some energy drinks, push-ups. Oh, we've got a giant monster. Is that like a 48 ounce? Is that a 40?
It's 24.
24. Can you say 24? Thank you. A 40 would have been better. But the shotgun approach is one single wall art spread that covers everything. What's the problem with the shotgun approach with a spread? Let's assume that your client comes in and they see your shotgun wall art design with every single piece from the shoot in it, and they say, I love it, I want it. What's the problem with that? Any ideas? Like raise your hands, talk, it's cool, it's fine. Love it. Go ahead, Liz.
The problem with that is then you'd have to go, the colors aren't going to be cohesive, so you'd have to grade them all to match. So you'd have to do a lot more adjusting to every image. Whereas if they're all in the same scene, you can color grade and exposure correct if any of that's needed. And then you're just going in and micro adjusting, like retouching.
That's a fantastic logistical issue, which you're absolutely right. Trying to get them all to match and be cohesive is going to be difficult. What about from a story standpoint? Does the spread do a good job of like kind of showcasing and focusing on a part of the story, or is it just kind of a hodgepodge of everything? What about a bigger issue of, well, is the client going to need to buy or want to buy anything else? If you design them one piece of wall art that has every part of their shoot in it, what's the point in making more? Or getting one for the kids' room, or getting one for a different room, right? So not only do we kind of hurt ourselves in terms of the overall storytelling ability, we also hurt ourselves in terms of the sale. We also make it more difficult for ourselves in post-production to try and get this to actually look good. So what we want to do is we want to aim for one story per piece, and we want to select the hero shot to build around, and then each added image we should add to that hero shot, and the images are cohesive in look and color. So, examples. This is one that we have up in the gallery, right? We select our hero shot. This is based on the couple themselves who said, we love the shot of our footprints in the sand. That's the shot that we want to go for. This was in the mood board. Before we even got to the shoot, we knew that this was one of the most important shots. When we got in post, we knew that this was our hero shot. They loved it. Then we sequenced shots of them around. So them playing by the water, and we did a little animated sequence here with a kind of a before and after shot. then over to the right side as they walked and kind of going for a close embrace. And with each of these, this shot is actually zoomed in quite a bit more. So if you see the canvas, it's actually this. That was a terrible box. So keep in mind that you guys can crop in. We have a lot of resolution, especially when these are going to canvas prints. Canvases don't print at a very high resolution. So a 30 megapixel camera, you can chop down to 10 megapixels, print it as a big canvas, and it still looks great because the canvas is like 120 or 150 DPI. Okay, metals, on the other hand, are like 300 DPI, so you do need higher resolution on that. But we still have quite a bit of room to crop. So what we want to do is aim to crop each of these images so that they don't look like they're the same focal length, the same size, the same everything. Otherwise, the set's going to feel boring. When everything in the set looks like it was, the couple's the same size, the shots are the same, everything's the same, it just doesn't quite line up. Another shot. So look, we go from wide to tight to tighter, each telling a bit different piece of this story. The story is singular, right? It's just the couple in this scene. We're not even working on any other scene. It's just this scene, this one look, this one expression, everything showing the details of that singular piece. If they want to do a ceremony piece, we'll design that too. We'll do another ceremony piece later on, right? We can put together different pieces. We want to make sure that each one of those is showcased as a piece of cohesive art. Okay, so if we were to select out images from here, I'm going to put the pen away. Don't need it. Let's say that this is the grouping that we're going to look for as this beginning shot. I want you guys to help me piece together something that looks good. Let's start with a hero shot. Which one do you guys want? Just blurt it out. You want this walking scene, or do you want them perched up on the hill? Or rock?
Perched up.
Perched? Perched. Let's do the perch shot. Okay. Next, what do we want to sequence that with? You're going to see the exact issues that we're going to run into as we're doing this process. So pick other shots.
One of them walking right there.
Like this one?
Sure.
Okay. What else? One of those. Perfect. Got it. One of those. Okay.
Let's get that one right there in the middle.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe this one? Is that okay?
Yeah.
We're going to mark these all as 5 stars so we can actually separate these out, and we'll make them red as well. Okay. So what immediately needs to happen right now to make this work?
Color match.
Which one needs to be matched to the set?
The top one.
So this one needs to be matched, right? If we're going to go with this, this needs to be matched to the set. This one's also a tiny bit dark based on these, is it not? So what we would do is let's just go into a view where we're seeing just these 5 images, so that way you can look back and forth, because what we want to do is basically grade these all so they have an identical look, and to do that we need to be able to bounce between them easily. Okay, so I'm going to brighten this one up. We're going to brighten this one up. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more contrast to the image and maybe pull a little bit of the highlights. Andrew was talking about this earlier, pulling the highlights. This is the case where when we're doing fine tuning, by the way, would you do this after a standard color grade? Probably not. You'd wait to do this until they actually select out the images to go up on the wall. I can design a nice piece with the images just graded naturally, right? When they go and they say, I want these 5 images, that's when we go and do a final grade on the images to get them all to look right. So now we compare them again, and we go close. This one looks a little bit dark. This one could be a little bit brighter. This one looks good. Let's go this one. So let's just grab this guy, bring it up a little bit more. Let's grab this guy, bring this up. Let's grab this one, bring it up. And I might even balance this with profile correction and then simply pull in the vignette, so that way it kind of is a little bit more fine-tuned. Okay, Let's make sure our vignette is in the right spot for them. I'm going to go ahead and just raise up the clarity just a little bit. Okay. Now does it fit? It's pretty good, right? Okay. This is the point where we would select out our crops and everything. And so what I might do is I might give myself a little bit of option here, where when I'm designing, let's give ourselves a tiny bit of an option just to say, maybe we want one of these other images. So I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to select this one, and this one as alternates, okay? So I'm going to have this, and what I'm going to do is just copy my settings over. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that, let's add our profile correction. Let's darken down the image. Add a little bit of contrast. Do you guys know why I'm adding the contrast? There's a little bit of flaring happening in some of these, and depending on how wide we're shooting, some of the images look a little bit softer than the other ones in terms of overall contrast. So I'm just kind of balancing it out a little bit. Okay, same thing here. Okay, bring it up. Bring it up. Isn't post-production fun? I'm hoping by saying that, Jay will tell me to stop making jokes and stuff. Is that good enough, dude? Can I just say that? Isn't post-production fun? Not good enough? So picky, man. Okay. All right. So let's give these a final glance. We're going to select them all, press N. Looking pretty good. This little sequence right here is a little bit on the dark side. So let's just grab this little set and boost all three of them simultaneously. Actually, they might be different exposure settings, so that might not work. Yes, they are. Okay. I'm just going to look at the thumbnails and see where we're at in terms of the thumbnails. And that's about right. I'm going to add the profile correction to this. Oh, that's already added. Okay. There we go. Good. So now let's take these images and we're going to export them. I'm just going to put them on the desktop. We're going to prep them for just a small size because I just want to use them so we can do some design work and kind of show you guys what it's going to look like as we lay it out. So let's go ahead and put this in a folder. We're going to say design examples. And they're just exported to a small size, like 2,000 pixels. Okay. Let's pause this video. Do you guys have any questions at this point? Okay, we're going to go to the next video.